A WFM 91.7, 22 minutes past 9 on the radio. Good morning to you and welcome to The Big Question on Women Radio 91.7. This is Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families, and we are unapologetically for women. As we commemorate the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, today being the 30th of July 2021, we commemorate World Day Against Trafficking in Person. The plights of millions of children, women, men suffering exploitation and humanitarian is real. Driven by the demand for cheap labor and commercial sex, trafficking rings across the borders and within countries take advantage of economic, social, and political vulnerabilities to exploit their victims. The number of persons who have been trafficked is on the rise everywhere, and Nigeria is not an exception. As a country of origin, transit, and destination for victims of human trafficking, the Giant of Africa records the highest number of human trafficking victims in Africa. In 2018, the Walk Free Foundation estimated that almost 1.4 million individuals were living in modern slavery in Nigeria. Research also shows that two-thirds of Nigerian victims of trafficking are victims of domestic human trafficking. Criminals of such a highly profitable business model have devised ways to hide their traces and increase their gains. And that's why on the big question this morning, we're taking time to speak about safeguarding women and children from trafficking. My guest this morning is Bekederemo Angela, who is a gender advocate and also a very solid voice when it comes to speaking against trafficking in person. Thank you for joining us this morning, Angela.
Thank you, Daniel. Good morning, Lagos. Thank you, Women FM, for having me on this program.
Yes. Today being the International Day Against Trafficking in Person, and we're looking at safeguarding women and children from trafficking. Let's even start off with the basics. What exactly is human trafficking?
Okay, human trafficking is the transporting of human beings to other countries, as in for the promise of the good life, as in you have been promised that if you get to this country, your life will be better than where you're coming from. And this is usually caused by the poverty in the supposed land of that individual. So that person wants to aspire to be better, to improve their living conditions. So they are kind of they are kind of lured into the racket, and they get there, they realize that this is not what they were promised, and they are entrapped in that war. And the sad thing is that when they get to this their country of destination, oftentimes their passports are being seized. They are forced into different kinds. They are subjected to different kinds of exploitation. For women, it's commonly sexual exploitation. Then for children, it's child labor. While some are not so fortunate, if they are not useful to the syndicate, those ones are usually sold off as slaves, where people that sexualize organ trade, likely take their kidney, their liver, and stuff like that. So human trafficking goes beyond what we see in our society today. It's more than we think, and it's an organized crime. It's not something that is being carried out by a selective few. They are well organized. They are out there. They go all out for their victims, as in they lure them into it. And with the modern advancements, with technology, it's called the darkness. You see them, they are there chasing their prey, as in luring them with things. And because of the poverty involved, those person thinks that, oh, when I get there, life will be better for me. But unfortunately, they get there and it's not what it seems. They become slaves in modern day life. One organization even captured, he said, humans are not pickles for sexual exploitation. What do they mean by pickles? Pickles is really not common in Nigeria. Yeah, we really don't do pickles. It's very common in the Western world. Pickles is like something you preserve it. So there's this image that they capture human beings in these bottles as in seal. They are entrapped. They cannot go beyond that because they are not free. They are subjected to the perpetrators.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking with us. This is a very important and very sensitive conversation that we're having today. So, today being the World Day Against Trafficking in Person, the theme for this year is Victim Voices Lead the Way. Victim Voices Lead the Way. And this highlights the importance of listening to and learning from survivors of human trafficking. I want to find out, have you had any contact with, persons who have been trafficked and were able to make their way back home?
No, the common ones I've seen, they're just the ones within our Nigerian territory. It's not the migrants, because we have different types of trafficking.
Yes.
We have the domestic, we have the migrants. For the domestic, like children that are brought into Nigeria for labor. If we go to our local market, we see these children, they are not Nigerians. They're in the market, they are selling, they are hustling. That is considered as human trafficking. But we don't know. We just feel that, because they are from our neighboring countries, they are here to help to make better living for their family. No, children cannot give consent. A child is supposed to be in school. A child is not supposed to be used for labor. Especially when that child is not yours. Your own children are in school. But you got these children from, I don't want to mention the countries. We know the countries around us.
No, I think we should actually mention these countries from the Benin Republic, Mali.
From Benin Republic, from Mali, from Cotonou. They're in the market. And because the common language in the West here now is Yoruba. So you see the way they speak this Yoruba. It's not like
the way we speak
the way we speak has. You know that these children are not there on their own will, because there's this syndicate that is bringing them, and the madam, especially all these textile merchants, they're the one that patronizes all the syndicate. And you see that they are making remittance to the people that brought them into Nigeria. Some of these children, after staying a while in Nigeria and they found their voices, they are bold enough to go to the madam and say, no, don't be paying my allowances or my wages to this person again. I can link you with my mom, where you can pay this money to my mom, because oftentimes these syndicates don't even remit the supposed money. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. A child that is supposed to be in school should be given education as at that time, not to be in the market, slaving. This even probably after school hours, they can go to the market and help their parents.
Yes.
But not like this child will not be given education at all. Those are the kind of people we've seen, and we've made advocacy for them. When I work with women at the market level, I always say, do not work with minors. If you're going to take a minor to work with, I think one thing you hold that minor is quality education. Give that child education. Then you can pose as a guardian. You can pose as someone that is offering care for this child. Not like you're using this child for labor and you're not giving anything back to this child. Those are the kind of people I've met, and usually it's at the market level. I go to the market and I make this advocacy and I educate them. Some people will look at, your own is too much. Who are you? Who are you to tell us what is not? I always tell them that it's something that, whether you admit it or not, there is a law on this thing in Nigeria. There is a law. The day NAPTIP will come hard for you. You will not say ignorance is an excuse. You will face the law, because Nigeria is a member state of the UNTOC. What's the UNTOC? The UNTOC is the United Nations Transnational for Organized Crime, which covers the protocol of human trafficking, like that. So you just have to be careful. Do what is right, so the law does not come hard on you. And if you look at NAPTIP have been carrying lots and lots of sensitization. So Nigerians will not say they are ignorant of this law. If you take a child from the neighboring country to come to Nigeria to come and work for you, it's human trafficking. It's not allowed. It's against the laws of the land. And this thing was signed. There's a law on it that Nigerian signed in 2015. So go into the archives, look, these laws are there.
Thank you very much. 29 minutes to 10. This is the big question on Women Radio 91.7. We're talking this morning with regards to safeguarded women and children from trafficking. And Bekederemo Angela is my guest. She's a gender advocate and a very strong voice against human trafficking. Let's take a look at, I want you to give a lot more insight into this form of trafficking, like sexual exploitation, child labor, and also the dark net. A lot of children, women especially, have been victims of sexual exploitation. Can you share more light on this?
Okay, for that of sexual exploitation, a typical example is the Nigerian experience when it comes to Italy. I was reading a document about my Nigerian women that were trafficked to Italy. Nigeria made 64% of that of their statistics, and which is crazy. And you will ask yourself, why are they leaving Nigeria? What is the problem? Everything boils down to poverty. And when they get to these countries that they are going, that some of them are almost trapped in the Mediterranean, some of them don't even get to their destiny. That they become slaves. Because one thing is that this syndicate sponsors the trip. Somebody that is complaining of poverty in Nigeria, where will the person get the money to go for the visa, to go for the air ticket, to go for the hotel lodges and stuff like that? So this syndicate will fund all the expenses, and they make sure that their victims sign agreements with them, whether formal, whether informal, whether through host or juju or whatever. So when they get there, their passports are seized. And they are there to sell sex. So you have to pay that debt. Probably the amount came to some certain amount of millions. Of course, they are in for business. They are not in for charity. They are in for business. But they want to make their money. Of course, they make it times more the price of what they've invested. If they've invested like $1 million upon that person, of course, they are not going to expect $2 million back, because they are cutthroat dealers. They'll be expecting nothing less than 10 million and above. So that person is in perpetual slavery. And this sexual exploitation business is very profiting abroad.
It is. It's regarded as a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yes. People sell sex, people buy sex. And it's not something that they want to lose out. So all these their victims, they are held bound. So you are called to go. This person wants you go there. They pay the money. That's right, and it's against their will. And it's because it's not something that is connected with love. There is no humanity in it. These people are treated in a very subjective position. As if they're like animals. They are no longer viewed as human beings. And people these days, we don't even treat our animals poorly. Because if you have a dog that is in your house, that is always coming around you, you will show that dog love. Just less of a human being. So they are even lesser than animals. They are degraded lesser to that level of an animal. So they are the situation is so horrible that you don't wish your worst enemy to get involved. I was seeing a movie on the flesh market. I saw where they were trading for a little girl. As in men in that movie, men that were above 40s, 50s, were trading for a little girl that is less than 10. I mean, it was disgusting. It was so, as in my stomach churn. That is the reality of sexual exploitation. As in when the person is no longer useful to them, the person is no longer generating that income for them, they kill the person. Look at cases that we held now. Look at the Nigerian girl that was trapped in Dubai one time. She was fortunate, she got the phone and she screamed for help, and the Nigerian government intervened. I think that was during Madam Bekederemo. And she intervened, and that lady was brought back home. That lady was just fortunate among thousands of women that are trapped in such situations. What about the cases that we've not heard? What about those that lost their life? That's how terrible this sexual exploitation can be. Then for children, what they do with children, they send children to mines, they send children to different construction sites just to work and bring money to the profits to them. And if that is not working, then they forcefully send these children on the streets to go and beg, as in you beg. So, and if you look at the forms of human trafficking by the World Drug Report, the Drug Report on Human Trafficking 2020, sexual exploitation has the highest. Sexual exploitation goes for like, I think it went for like 56 or thereabouts. then followed by forceful child begging, then baby selling, organ selling, and others like that. So it's something we are no longer keeping silent. These things are in our society. We need to speak against it. And for the darkness is even worse. They come through organized recruitment agencies. I'm in Nigeria, I'm here, and I'm a professional licensed clinical social worker, and I aspire to be greater. And I see that agency that social worker wanted in Dubai, blah 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 like that, and I fill in my application thinking it's what it is, and I get there and I discover it's not. So they come after their victims through the internet. They are so organized that you think that, oh, this is the best, you're happy, you live in Nigeria. And some of them are so terrible that when you get to the first phase of being trafficked, they will now make you call your family to give that impression that all is well wherever you are. They will act it that way. You are in a good home, you are comfortable, so your family have that image that, oh, you have arrived, you're settled. That's not the truth. The next thing, the person is being exploited. So now I advise this money to people that desire to aspire to improve on their level. Fine, we know there's poverty in the land, but you have to be vigilant. You have to be investigative. You don't just see a call for an opening and you are just running into it. You are not carrying your people along.
Bekederemo.
You are not giving. Yes, please.
Please do well to stay with us. This is the big question of Women Radio 91.7. I sincerely appreciate how passionate you are about this conversation. And honestly speaking, I feel like this conversation needs to be heard at least once every month on our radio programs, because we can't always wait for the International Day before we speak against these things. We need to speak about it every single time. I want us to come back to certain things shortly, but just do well to stay with us quickly. This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. We're talking this morning, if you're just joining us, about safeguarding women and children from trafficking. This is in respect to the International Day, a World Day Against Trafficking in Person, which the theme for the year is Victim Voices Lead the Way.
The name says it all.
Women Radio 91.7.
This is still the big question on Women Radio 91.7. If you are just joining the conversation, it's 19 minutes to 10, and we have gender advocate and one of the strongest voices I've heard so far speak on, against trafficking in persons is Bekederemo Angela. We're talking on safeguarding women and children from trafficking. Bekederemo, thank you for staying with us.
Okay, like I was saying, like I was saying earlier, is that if you see these recruitment agencies, don't be too quick to jump into the offer. Don't be thinking, this is too good to be true. Do your investigation. Carry your family members along to be sure that it's thorough, so you don't get entrapped in their war. There was an experience I would have had nasty years ago. I remember there was this big shot in Abuja about this time, holiday period. I think around August, like that, summer period. So this woman called me, being a social worker, and said, oh, Angela, I want you to help me take about 11 kids to Ghana for holiday. I've never been to Ghana. It would have been a very nice offer. You're going to pay my air ticket, hotel travels. It was an holiday which I've never had. I don't even have the means to fund that kind of lifestyle. And there was this very big shot in Abuja calling me, telling me to do this for her. I was so happy. I was like, okay, but good. The good thing is that being a trained and a qualified social worker and a professional social worker, I remember that was the time that they were beginning to advocate for the Child Rights Act in Nigeria. And Lagos State and Oyo State were the forerunners. They were the four states that have signed this Child Rights Act. Other states in Nigeria hadn't signed them. This was far back, if I can recall, between 2011. So I called this woman back and I said, okay, no problem, I'm game for it. So they're making preparations. One day I sat down and I said, Angela, you know about human trafficking. You know about child trafficking. If you take 11 children to Ghana now, and you want to come back, this is a very powerful shot. You want to come back to Nigeria, and they tell you you're only going to come back with 7 children. Indirectly, you have been used to traffic these children. Do you know that? I said, yes, that's true. This was my personal deep thought. So I said, no problem. I called my colleagues that were social workers that were working with the Lagos State agency on social welfare. I said, guide me on those things. They said, no problem. Come to our office, make an official, official documentation that you're going to take this number of children out. These are the children. Give us the information, everything about this trip. Then you can go. So if you get there and you're not coming back with the number of children that you took to Ghana, then come to the office and make your complaint. I say good. So between me and my colleagues that work for Lagos State Social Welfare Ministry, I went back to this woman and I proposed this deal. That was the end of this conversation. That was the end. This was 2011, fast forward to 2021. So it is in our system, it's happening. But people really do not know where to go, who to turn to. But let's appreciate NAPTI. Of recent, I've been seeing lots of sensitizations. They go to schools, they go to the market, they sensitize people, they educate people on the signs and the dangers of human trafficking. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this information that you're giving out and these things that you're saying. You know, like you rightly said, a lot of people do not know. But let's come to our everyday today activities. We've had cases of maybe the hairstylist in a particular salon that makes my partner's hair disappeared for a while, and everybody thought she had gone in for greener pastures, and all of a sudden the next thing we're hearing is she had been taken away. How do we identify as individuals in the society that this person is going to be trafficked from what they say and how they are the kind of information that they're giving out?
I think when the deals are just too good to be real. I don't know. I never knew I was going to pursue human trafficking cause as a purpose in life, as a social worker. It was never my intention. But when the fire is there, the thing just stopped us. I remember when I was doing my Lagos City, I went to Lagos City Computer College.
Okay.
That was far back, 1995, 96. Okay. I finished secondary school. I didn't get admission into university. So rather than be so I enrolled for that Lagos City Computer College. I remember, I can still remember my class, 812 J3. I was coming from Ajegule. They were in Ikeja. Some were coming from Yaba and different areas of Lagos. There was this particular girl in my class, always well dressed, smartly looking, as being beautiful. When she entered, you know what they call play queen of now. When she entered the class stands still. But she was never a brilliant person. That's not the point. One day I got to school, then I noticed that a good number of persons have disappeared from my class. They were in the cafeteria. They were there for a very long time. So I went there and I saw them. They were all filling forms, different kind of forms. They were filling forms. I was like, what are people filling? They said they are going to different countries and they need house girls, they need cook, they need hairdresser, they need different kind of occupations that you can find there. It was that particular lady that brought out those forms, and they were all filling. From nowhere, I don't know where I got the wisdom from. I said, if it's that lucrative, why didn't she go and bring all her family people? Let them fill the form. Don't they like abroad? It's only people that like abroad. That was the end of that. Everything just scattered. There was quarrel like, you come to scatter my deals, you come to. So human trafficking comes in different forms. They will, lure you. I think they will dance to the carrot before you. It will be too good to be true. Someone that has not even seen 30,000 a month as salary in Nigeria, then you are telling the person that, come to this particular country, come to Dubai, you'll be earning so thousands of dirham. Convert to Nigerian naira. See how much you'll be earning. You are not the one buying the ticket. You are not the one buying. So the deal is too good to be real. Look at the Oloture movie.
The movie.
So that some people, the movie, people didn't even understand the depth of that movie. They thought it was just one common entertainment thing. No, it goes beyond entertainment. That thing was more like a docudrama. For you to see what people go through. The acts, people were killed, some people didn't make it, those that made it, it's not all well and good. So where they are going, they don't even know the condition. So one common sign to look at for you to know that this deal, when it's too good, because everything has a price, you have to pay a price.
Yeah.
When it's too good to be real, it's too good. You look at it, everything just going smoothly. I think that's the time you should pause. And if you're doing anything, if you try and get the law involved, try and get the law involved. Don't look at our law and say, Nigerian laws are shabby, Nigerian laws, what the laws are corrupt. No, don't even look at that. Look at the good parts that the Nigerian laws they're taking care of, the Nigerian law officers, the effort they put in combating crime. Don't look at the negative. The negative cannot be over the positive.
Yes.
If the negative is like 20%, the positive is like 80%. If I thought let the negative be 40%, the positive is 60%. So can you get the law involved? Like I did. For that woman in Abuja, I didn't even go to the police. I just said Lagos State Social Welfare. And that was the end of the conversation. Always try and get the law involved. And that is something that is not costing you money.
Yes.
Walk to any police station, walk to any law agency and say, this is me, this is what I want to do. Please, these are my data. You at least that's record.
Yes.
And go back to the person that you're doing that thing and hear what they will tell you. If it's clean, they will continue the business with you. But if it's not clean, you will see they will back off.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's talk about the government for the next about 5-10 minutes before we call the conversation to a close. We have leverage on the very important things. We've talked to the people, but let's look at the government. What are your thoughts on the commitment of the government towards eradicating human trafficking in Nigeria?
Yeah, Nigerian government is very committed. I attended a course by the United Nations on this organized crime, and Nigeria is a member state among all member states. And Nigeria, I think in the grouping, Nigeria is in group 2. And if you look, the former Edo, I don't know her name actually now. I wish I could get her name. The one-time DG of NAPI even got an award from John Kerry. So show that because Nigeria is out there trying to combat these things. Like I said, NAPI have been going out all day. And what is NAPI now? NAPI is the National Agency of Prohibition of Trafficking Persons agency. They are the ones in charge. You see them, they create that awareness, they are leaflets, they have different units. I don't work on NAPI, it's what I've read I saw. I even look at their gazette, I saw the laws where it was spelled out, the fines. And oftentimes you hardly get a fine. There's a jail sentence for it. So if you traffic person and you are caught, you will pay you will pay the price. And they have their data, the number of persons they've apprehended. I think there's a place I read that where they've apprehended like 148 persons since this law has been enacted since 2015. So the government is actively involved and they are carrying out that awareness. Yesterday I saw that there was a walk in Abuja to create more awareness on this thing, to show that human trafficking is a no-no. We are not applauding it. We are not condoning it. We are going to expose it and try to put an end to it. And another way Nigerian government now, I want to go beyond NAFI. I want to look at the government. Okay. Let them look at the poverty in the land. If this is addressed, the socio-economic status of the citizens, if this is addressed, if a good number of Nigerians are doing well, why would they want to leave their country and go to other countries to work? If they want to go, it's just because they want to experience that holiday trip, and they go and they come back, and they won't go through all these illegal ways. But most of the ways people are being trafficked is through illegal means like that. So that's what I have to say this morning.
You have been very amazing this morning on this conversation, and I'm hoping that a lot of people are learning. You know, in the midst of all of this poverty, how do we tell people that they should not jump on these over juicy offers that are available because of, you know, the fact that we do not have somebody who is listening right now that is being offered a very, you know, enticing deal, and at the end of the day it is a trafficking offer, and they do not know because of, you know, they are let me use the word, they are blinded by the current situation that they are going through. How do we tell them to keep hope alive?
I think it's still education. When somebody is offering something that is too juicy, too good to be true, you should ponder and you should think. You should think, like all those experiences I had, especially with that woman in Abuja. It's not like I know anything now. Even when the woman was telling me, I was so happy initially. It was just in that proper moment. I paused and I reflected. I think you are taking 11 children house. If you are told at the end of the day that you're only coming back with 7, what does that imply? So whoever that is being given that offer, I think that person should sit down and say, with what I've been hearing, they say human trafficking and stuff like that. This is outside my country. If this thing does not go out as planned, what will happen to me? Like I said, get the law involved. I don't know how you do it. You just have to, how would I say, initiate wisdom in this thing. You have to get the law involved. Let people know that this is where you are going. These are the people you are working. Then you go back to this person and you just subtly, not even aggressively, you just subtly mention that social agency has my data or whatever. And what's their reflection? And see if they will continue the conversation with you. If they continue the conversation with you, that means it's genuine. If they don't, then you know that something is wrong. What you are saying today concerning this juicy offer and looking at the poverty state of the individual that might want to embrace it. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this picture on social media. It's all these images that tell stories. It is the rat. with this transparent glass filled with other sugar or something.
Yes.
One is filled with sugar, the rat is on top. Then the other one, you see that the rat has eaten that goodness. The rat is now at the bottom of the bottle. So that's exactly human trafficking.
Okay.
So they come with that very juicy offer. They use it as bait, and you get entangled, and you're like, oh, this is the heaven, and you dive into it before the individual realize he or she is entrapped.
All right. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us this morning, and I really do appreciate you. Thank you for the good work that you do, and let's just keep spreading the message. Do you have any final words you'd like to add to today's conversation?
What I want to add to today's conversation, I want to encourage Nigeria, go out there, read more on human trafficking, how they work. If you have the knowledge, you can protect yourself. But if you don't have the knowledge, how can you protect yourself? Like they say, ignorance is no excuse. Thank you, Danzio, for having me.
Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you. All the best.
All right,
Bye.
all the best. It's Women Radio WFM 91.7. If you are just joining the conversation, we've had a very solid conversation this morning with Bekederemo Angela, who is a general advocate and a trained social worker. And she has enlightened us a lot this morning on, safeguarding women and children from trafficking. She has spoken to the parents, to elderly, for us to read more on these things. Don't just jump on that offer because it's juicy. If you're going to have any form of help at all, make sure it is somebody who is of age to work and who can earn for themselves, or who you can directly have someone that you're paying them for the work that they do. This has been the big question, and more importantly, this is a wake-up call to us all.